On here, you want to know why this woman who's 59 years old is so beautiful, so attractive? Well, you're going to want to stay with me throughout this entire video because I'm going to get into the explanation from a medical perspective as a physician, MD researcher, specialized in health performance optimization, why this woman is so attractive at her age of 59. So let's start looking at the science. Okay, so we're going to take a look inside of Carolyn. All right, we're going to start with an MRI of her abdomen. Okay, we're going to do a transverse plane that's like a pizza slice through her. It's going to reveal an image like this that's going to look very different than this one. Okay, this one is not a healthy image, but let's look at Carolyn's. And what do we find out when we look at Carolyn's image? So if you've been following me for a while, you know a healthy MRI, a healthy abdomen is mostly dark and oval shape. Oval shape and mostly dark is Carolyn, okay? She looks really good. The interesting thing is she's got almost no visceral fat, okay? No visceral fat. She's got a nice thin layer of healthy superficial subcutaneous fat. She does not have deep subcutaneous fat, does not have love handles, which are the subjects of other videos I've done. Her love handles are almost non-existent, and that's the way you want. You want to have a nice layer of superficial subcutaneous fat. You don't want deep subcutaneous fat. You do not want love handles, and you do not want visceral fat. So Carolyn's done a great job. Well, let's take a look at Carolyn compared to the average person. Okay, the average kind of individual who comes to me, works with me, who's in trouble. They've got visceral fat because they haven't done what Carolyn has done. Okay, so here's Carolyn's image, and this is another client who came to me, and they are filled with visceral fat. They have huge love handles, and they have very deep subcutaneous fat. See that black line that defines deep subcutaneous fat? They're huge, and Carolyn's got none of that. Now, Carolyn's muscles are really lean, really dark. They're almost all, very, very solid. Look at this client's muscles. Huge amount of inflammatory fat. That's human marbling that's being deposited within those muscles, and they're destroying the quality of those muscles and the performance of those muscles. So this person has got a problem. We got to turn them around quickly, and their problem is they ate too many processed foods and too many carbohydrates, causing that deposition. Carolyn, let's get into her secret. What did Carolyn do to do this? Well, it's better described what she didn't do. She did not eat a lot of carbohydrates. She went Atkins decades ago. So she has, for the majority of her life, eliminated carbohydrates and eaten mostly just fat and protein. And as a consequence, she has preserved her youthful figure. This, if I had to guess how old this individual was, based on my knowledge of abdomens, I would say this individual is in their 20s or teens even. But Carolyn is 59. And you would look like this if you did what she did. Decades of eating low carb, Atkins. But almost nobody ever, I don't know anybody else who has. If you know somebody who has, send them my way because I'd probably be interested in studying them. I'd certainly ask them to do an MRI. Carolyn did an MRI for me. So this is sliced through the abdomen. Uh-oh, that's the belly button. See that little area? That's how you can tell where we are. Okay, we're right in the abdomen, and all that white stuff inside is visceral fat, which I'm constantly harping about. Your best biomarker for optimizing your health. Nothing will improve human beings more than eliminating that visceral fat, because I've studied it for years now, going on about 10 years. So I am the world's expert at eliminating visceral fat. I know how to do it. I'm motivated, and this is my passion, to eliminate chronic disease, this stuff here. So where are the love handles? This enormous area of fat right here. But something very interesting about love handles is that they're made up of predominantly deep subcutaneous fat, which we see always corresponds to visceral fat. So the more visceral fat you have, the more deep subcutaneous fat, and so the larger your love handles. If you got love handles, you got visceral fat. Bad. And you need to be aware of it. Even if you got a little bit of love handles, you've got visceral fat, and it's bad, and you need to get rid of it. But this guy has a huge amount. So where's the deep subcutaneous fat? See that black line right there? That separates deep subcutaneous fat from the superficial subcutaneous fat. You know what's the good fat? There's lots of differences between fat. Okay, there's many fat depots, many areas of fat in the body. Deep subcutaneous fat corresponds to visceral fat. They're bad players. They cause inflammation. They secrete these inflammatory molecules, just like the fatty deposition, human marbling, and legs. And we'll get into that in the muscle. Okay, but deep subcutaneous fat is the bad stuff, and it's associated with cardiovascular disease, fatty liver disease, and chronic disease in general. And this stuff is the good stuff that secretes a molecule called adiponectin. So you want more of that. This client has barely any of the good stuff, and tons of the bad stuff because he's got so much visceral fat. So you don't want to look like that. You don't want to have that kind of an image. So what do you want to look like? All right. You want to have this kind of a scan, very little visceral fat, okay? Huge amount of visceral fat, huge love handles, okay? Look at these enormous love handles, but look how small the love handles are on this guy. He's an Olympic sprinter. He's got the smallest love handles I've ever seen. He's got the smallest visceral fat I've ever seen. He's got the smallest amount of human marbling I've ever seen. He eats clean and he sprints. He's doing like everything right. He's done it for years. So this guy, A+ on everything. This guy, solid Fs on everything. Enormous deep subcutaneous fat, enormous love handles. It's all the same story. Chronic disease throughout the body if you bother to take a look at it. So you do not want this fatty infiltrate in your muscles, and they correspond to those love handles.